We are going to be looking at the mountain region in India, which is this area up here, the northern part of the country, right around the Himalayan mountains. The summers are very cool here because it's farther north, and they get heavy snowfalls in the winter. Long ago, this area used to be covered with forest, but people were coming in and cutting down all of the trees to build different things or to use them for fuel. A group of women who lived around here really didn't like that, and they started this movement called the Chipko movement, and Chipko means to hug. So when the loggers came in to cut down the trees, these women hugged the trees so that the loggers couldn't cut them down. Like a tree hugger, you've probably heard of that before. The government listened to what these women had to say, and they changed the laws so that people weren't allowed to cut down the trees, or not as many anymore. And people still do this all over the world today. People even started using different kinds of cooking fuel from animals or plant waste instead of using the wood from the trees. Now, as you can imagine, in the Himalayan mountains, there's not a lot of flat space. There's lots of hills and slopes. And hills and slopes are really hard to grow things on because they just want to roll down, or the soil's going to wash down, and it makes it really tricky to grow things on these slopes. So what people started doing is they started cutting out steps down the hills or down these slopes. And everywhere where it's flat, they would start to grow things. So here's what it would look like. You can see where they have cut out big chunks of the hill to kind of make these steps coming down. And where it's flat right here is where they can grow all of their crops. Here are some more pictures of the steps that these people dig into the hills, and these steps are called terraces. People use this method of farming all over India and in lots of other countries too. Depending where you are in India, you'll find different things or different crops growing on these terraces. Down south, you'd find more rice because they get lots of water, and rice needs a lot of water to grow. Whereas in more northern areas, you'd probably find more wheat growing. People have had to adapt to the climate to figure out what grows well in one area and what goes better in other areas. One important thing about living up in the Himalayan mountains or up high is that you're at a very high altitude. And when you get up higher and higher and higher, there becomes less oxygen, which makes it really hard to breathe. So people have had to adapt to this over time, as well as the animals that they have to help them. People use water buffaloes like this one to help them with their farming on the terraces. Farmers have also learned that Angora rabbits can live at these high altitudes as well. And because of that, they've become really good rabbit keepers because this Angora wool is really important to the people to make different things out of. So that concludes our video on the mountain region of India. Hope you learned a few things, and we'll talk to you later.